Hey LCP applicants, in this video you'll be know about what is OD model. And before I start, I would like to briefly introduce myself. I'm MCVP OD for term 17-18 in Isaac in Malaysia. So now I will be presenting you the OD model for Isaac in Malaysia for 2017/2018. So before I start, I would like to briefly tell you about what is OD role in general. So OD stands for Organizational Development. What it means is to develop organization. And what we do is we need to make sure that our organization is able to grow in a sustainable way and a healthy way for not in this current term, but also for more than 3 terms and continuously growing for the future. So what we do in OD is we will come up with an OD model that can measure the current state of our organization and also to be able to provide us a strategy to help us to bridge the gap from the current state to the ideal stage that we want our organization to be. So basically, we choose the way on how we want to develop our organization. The reason is in different organization outside of Isaac, you can see that a lot of different organizations have different indicator to measure their performance or to measure their success. So same in Isaac, we have our very own kind of measure of success, which is right now is called number of complete, and also we also have our own measure of success for our talent capacity, for our financial, and also for our legality. So all these things are the things that we use to actually to measure where we are right now and also where do we want to be in the future. So OD role is not about coming with the OD model, but also to understand in what is our current stage and also design strategy and culture shaping to make sure that we are prepared and also we have the capacity to actually drive from the current stage to the ideal stage that we want our organization to be, which is more performing and also more healthy. So a little bit expectation setting for you is you need to expect changes will happen in OD model, because the current OD model that I'm going to present to you is the OD model that a few pilot LC has been running for the past 2 to 3 months. And then after that, we actually collect a lot of input and feedback from the pilot LCs about the current OD model. And what we're going to do is we're going to revise based on the input and also to make sure that we can improve our OD model to make it better and more user-friendly for our local entities. So one thing is you need to expect that OD model should be agile to fit to the organizational need. As agile in the sense that identify what is the current need and also our current reality. So to make sure that the OD model is always be relevant and also able to help us to make a better decision and also better strategy to help us to grow sustainably and also significantly in terms of the performance and also our organizational health. So OD model have two key elements. The first one is operational performance and the second one is organizational health. So operational performance is all about the exchanges that we do, whether it's good or not, whether is it fast or not, like how much time or how much day our customer got the responses from us, and lastly is our product itself profitable. Can our product self-sustain without without using more than the expenses that it actually uh, uh, drive as the income. So and then for the organizational health is measured by the organizational health index, and then what it means is to see the health condition of our organization, whether our members are happy or satisfied with their experience or not, whether our financial, like our money, do we have a steady flow of our cash flow, and then also to identify is it our organization legal, like to make sure that the procedure that we invite our EP to come to Malaysia, is it legal or not, and something like that. So for operational performance is measured by the product health index. So based on the description that I provide just now, there are three key indicators. The first one is better, and then the second one is faster, and then the third one is profitable. And for organizational health is measured by organizational health index, and the three key indicator inside this organizational health elements is talent capacity, financial strength, and also legality and governance. So this is how the OD model will look like. So the red one, it means the startup stage, where you can notice that is either the organization has high organizational health but then low product health, or either they have high product health but low organizational health. So a good sustainable organization should be actually having both high in product health and also both high in organizational health. So this blue stage is the mature state, where the organization has reached the high product health and also the organizational health, and this is where we want our local entities to be. However, in the current stage, that most of our local entity are either in this startup stage or the scaling stage, which is either they need to improve the organizational health, or they need to improve their product health, or they need to improve both product health and organizational health in order to reach to the advanced and the mature stage. So for operational performance, these three indicators, the first one is better. What it means to be better is to provide better quality of our product. And how we measures the measurement that we have for the better is the number of complete. And in this OD model, we still take into consideration with the number of realization. It's because imagine that suddenly we take out all the realization number and we only measure the number of complete, and most of the LC only have like 10 complete. So in the end, everyone will be having the same product health index, or they are having the same performance, that which make us very difficult to measure whether the LC is in the same situation or not. Because in OD model, like for example, and you look at it, if all the LC are around, some of the LC are around this, we will provide strategy that for LC they are in this kind of stages. However, if all the LC they have different volume of realization, but due to the number of complete and they all here, then the strategy that we provide in this red area may not be relevant to each reality. So it's still important for us to include the number of realization to make sure that when we come up with a strategy, it's also fit to the reality of the LC, that they actually have higher realization, but it's just the conversion rate from the realization to complete is low. So for the faster one is respond faster to our customer. So what we measure is the process time, how many days it takes from the applicants to approve. So we can make sure that we are more customer centric and we can respond to our customer faster. And the example is like for Airbnb, like normally if you want to book an accommodation, it's actually take less time, like one day or within 3 days, then you have the accommodation. So it's all about being fast and also being customer centric. So this is what Isaac want to do as well. So we start to put process time as one of the indicator in our OD model. And the last one is profitable, is to make sure that the product itself is able to generate income and also able to self-sustain. What it means is that beside being able to sustain the expenses, it also able to drive more income, and this income can be used for investment like member investment or also the product investment to improve our customer experience. So the profitability is the formula we can see is product income generate minus by the direct product cost and plus the indirect product cost. So this is all for the product health index, and in this few slide you can see that there is a tiering system. What it means, the tiering system is, if we look at each product, we will come up with a tier, which means that if your product OGV only drive from 0 to 30, then you are in the startup stage, which is the lowest stage, and your score is only 1. If you're at the mature stage, which is the highest one, then you got 4. So if you drive more than 91 until 120, then you will be at the mature stage. So same goes to other product. So what it means, and then the measurement for the time range is current quarter plus the past 3 quarter. And the reason why is your current quarter is your current performance, and why it need to plus with the past 3 quarter is we need to measure the whole 4 quarters together, because all your peak is in the 4 quarter. If I only look at 1 quarter, it will not be accurate, because you only have 2 peak, which is winter and summer peak, and not all quarter have peak. So normally we will measure the current quarter plus the past 3 quarter to see what is your performance so far. So these are the calculations, and I will not detailedly explain the calculation. You can look through the booklet to understand more about how to calculate. This same goes with faster and profitable, and yeah, they have their own range and profitability. So in the end, we'll look at different product, like OGT, they have their PHI score, better, faster, and profitable. And then after that, you get the total, and then IGT, they have their own score, and then you get the total. So lastly, what it does is you plus all the product together and you divide by the number of product that you run, and the score is like this. So in a lot of local entity, they run a lot of product, but not all the product are performing. So when they divide by the number of product they run, it makes their product health index score lower because they're running too much product. So in this way, we also encourage LC not to run too many product. Instead, focus on more a few focus product that your LC is good at. So for the organizational health index is, you can see that there are three key elements, and for the talent capacity is productivity rate, retention rate, and PS score. And for the financial strength is profit rate, revenue rate, expense rate, and reserve rate. And lastly is legality and governance, which is we have a legality checklist. So for the productivity rate is to understand the performance of each member in each product. So these are the old measurement, which is the for each peak that we have. Like for example, in this peak is approved peak, then we will set what is your approved goal, and then we will take the approved KPI, the achievement they achieved so far, the actual achievement of approved, then divide by the number of members they have in the LC. However, however, there is a changes for the productivity rate, which we change from the number of we change the formula measurement, which is from this total actually total number of approved you have divided by the total number of member to the new one, which is how many percent of member actually achieve 100% of PA. So which means that it embed PA in the system itself, and one member only can be productive if they achieve all the KPI in the PS score. So these are the changes that will be happening in the future, but it's still not yet reflected in the OD model. So in the next coming time, we're going to revise the OD model to make sure that it reflect on that. And the second one is the retention rate, is to assess the quality of member experience. So we want to see that the member that stay more than 3 months experience at the end of the quarter divide the member that start at the quarter. So we want to see how many members stay more than 3 months after the recruitment. So this is to see that if our quality as member experience is good enough, then people will be more likely to stay. So lower retention, which will show that either our recruitment is not good enough or our member experience are not good enough. So the last one is PS score, which to evaluate the performance of each member in the LC. Yeah, so these are the calculations part, and for the profit rate is to measure the profit of the exchange product. We want to see that how many percent of the profit are actually derived by our product exchange product. So it means that we want to make sure that our organization profit and also expenses and also revenue are actually totally derived from our key product instead of non-key product, for example selling LC t-shirts or conference profit, this kind of thing, because we want to make sure that we want to make sure that our cash flow is actually aligned to our actual LC performance. Because imagine if you're a company that sells shampoo, you need to make sure that your money that you get from the organization is actually from the shampoo instead of from other kind of activity. So the reserve rate is actually to make sure that how many months of LC can sustain without income. And then there's a formula here that can help you to identify. But then the reserve rate is to help you to make sure that when your LC do not have a income, especially when you're at non-peak, how much month that you actually can survive. So this is very important for you to identify the sustainability of your LC. And then for expense rate is to make sure that LC have a balanced distribution of expenses among product and non-product activity. So it's also to make sure that LC also not only spend money want to make sure that LC spend money on the right places, which is to actually develop our product, or actually to make sure our product experience better. That's why they spend more money on the product. And lastly is a revenue rate, which is to make sure that the LC product are the main income generator instead of other, like for example conference fee. So these are the range. So if you can see that highest range like 100% profit rate from product, it doesn't mean good. So it's all about finding the balance in between. So this is a revenue rate, expense rate, and reserve rate. So for the last one is legality and governance. So the legality checklist is to ensure that our organization comply to the legal requirement of either Malaysia and also Malaysia. So the measurement that we have is compendium and constitutions, legal representative inside EB, exchange contract, and then PD and sponsorship contract, visa and legal registration. So what it means to compendium is your LC should make sure that you have your own local compendium, and you also have a legal representative inside the EB that actually responsible for all the legal matter and also represent if anything happens in your legality. And then the exchange contract is to keep track on your exchange contract of your customer, which is your EP, and then all the sponsorship and partnership or partnership deliverables, you should have a contract that mention all this. And the second last one is the visa, is to make sure that our customer actually have a proper visa, and this is something that all nationally we need to work together. And the last part is the legal registration, which you need to make sure that your LC is actually legally registered in your university. So if you achieve 6, then you get score 4, and then if you achieve only 1 to 2 criteria, then you will only get score 1. So you can actually check the calculation here, which I will briefly explain only. After you got all the score, you realize that your product health index is 5.45, and then your organizational health index is 2.65. So you're actually in scaling phase. So how you can see this model is, if you're in this phase, you want to go from scaling to advanced, what you can do is you need to improve your product health index. And if you're at this stage, for example, this stage, which you're in between of you're in the middle of the scaling, which means that you need to improve both your organizational health index and also your product health index. So this is how you can look based on the model and come out with the focus strategy that you can focus on to help you to jump from the current stage, which is the scaling, to the much advanced stage, which is the ideal stage. So this is the minimum product health index for each stage, minimum organizational health index for each stage. So this is to help you to identify your growth phase. So to recap, audit model provide guidelines for our entity to grow in a healthy and sustainable way, and they measure operational performance and organizational health. And operational performance are measured by better, faster, profitable, and organizational health are measured by talent capacity, financial strength, and legality and governance. So that's all from the OD model. So if you have any question, you can always come to me to ask me questions, like send me an email or give me a WhatsApp or Telegram. So in the end, just hope that you have all the best for your application. So thank you so much for watching this, and goodbye.